Hey guys, this is a compilation video of all my comic book quickies that I made a while ago, where I go through a bunch of old key comics, I show you everything in there, and I talk about it, I give you a review. So this is one of those things where you can just turn on and leave it on the TV or whatever and just watch for however long it's going to be, and you get to see a bunch of cool keys and learn about them completely. They're good books to collect, and they're quick little videos all in one video. I hope you enjoy the Comic Book Quickie compilation. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics, and your next Comic Book Quickie is Wolverine. This is the limited series, classic cover. I remember when I was younger, I would trace it and I would draw it over and over. This is my personal copy. It's signed by Chris Claremont, Len Wein, Rubenstein, Shooter, and Herb Trimpe. Basically, everyone that's in this book, kind of, plus the creators of Wolverine, who are now, most of them are passed away, which is sad. This book is so great because of the art inside. I mean, Frank Miller. This is the only guy I need to sign this book is Frank Miller. Frank Miller, and then Joe did the coloring and finishing of it, but basically Frank Miller art. And it starts off with Wolverine. I'm Wolverine. I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do best isn't very nice. This is where you get that saying, you hear it all the time. And he's chasing down a grizzly, a ravaged grizzly that's, killing people. You know, when you read these books and you go back and say, oh, that was in this movie, that was in this movie. So this is basically the Japan Wolverine movie, where the beginning he goes to the bar and he gets the hunters. And so after he chases down the grizzly, he's got to put the grizzly down because it's killing people, right? And he's having a conversation about, the grizzly had no idea it was coming type of thing. He, didn't know what was coming for him. So then he finds out, he smells the arrow was dipped in the poison, so he tracks down the arrow. They don't show much except in the bar, the guy hits him over the head, and then he says, I let him live. And the bear lasted longer. Right? So when he gets back, then we start talking about Mariko Yashida. So she's his love interest, and he's been with the X-Men for a while, and he got a bunch of letters. And basically she's saying you gotta stay away, I'm married now type of thing. He doesn't care. He gets on a plane and he goes over there, and he's met by Asano Kimura. You don't really hear much about him, which is interesting, but they were friends and they worked together on assignments before. He was an X-Men type of thing, you know what I mean? And he's telling him, look man, she's married now, and you need to stay away. But she's like, well, I don't care. I'm going to go talk to her. I want to know why she got married. And he puts on his classic Wolverine costume. The brown and yellow, right? And he goes to the, whatever you call it, the Yoshida Ancestral Stronghold, which you've seen in, if you've watched the movie, it's with the Silver Samurai and all that. It's kind of similar. Same thing. And he sneaks in. And he finds her. There, he's talking to her, right? And he's like, look at me. I want you to look me in the face when we're talking. And she looks, and her husband was beating her, right? So Wolverine got pissed. So Wolverine meets her husband, and Wolverine's about to kill him, and she begs him to stop. Right? So he does. And then he leaves. And when he leaves, he gets hit by a bunch of shuriken ninja stars. And they were really poisoned, so he's pretty wounded. But, of course, he can't die. He's healing. And her father's there, your Lord Shingen, or, he's there, and he says, how dare you, basically come here. You know she's married now. This is a dishonor, stuff like that. And so he says, just classic stuff. He says, how about this? Let's have a battle with the wooden swords or whatever, the practice swords. and we'll see who wins. And basically, what Lord Shinjin's doing is just trying to piss Wolverine off more and more. He's much better with the sword than Wolverine is. He's like breaking his neck and his back and all his pressure points and really pissing off Wolverine to the point where he can't control himself, right? And that was his mission, to make him lose control and bust out the blades, right? And then he proceeds to whoop his ass. He proceeds to whoop Wolverine's ass pretty handily. But of course, he's a badass samurai. And Wolverine's kind of injured. But in the process, he's basically dishonored Wolverine in the eyes of Mariko because, you know, he lost control. And, you know, it's about respect and stuff and like that in Japan. So, you know, they leave him in the side of the street, and that's that, right? And then some you know, villains, or not villains, but gangs or whatever, come and say, hey, you Gaijin, what are you doing here? We're going to get you. And before Wolverine can do anything, they're taken out by some, like, flying daggers. Right? And Wolverine's still really beat up. And this girl picks him up and says, you're mine, Wolverine, now and forever. And I believe that is the first appearance of Yukio. Okay? Which in Wolverine 2, I think, is you see her first full appearance. But that's kind of the story, a little background of his life. A little bit into himself, talking about himself a little bit, his hunting abilities, stuff like that. And his past in Japan. And of course it continues. This is his first solo. Frank Miller, Joe Rubinstein, Chris Claremont, one of the best. Wolverine, and he's the best at what he does, and what he does isn't that nice or whatever. So stay sick, comic book quickians. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Quickies. Tonight we have Web of Spider-Man #1. Something about this comic, maybe it's from my youth, I don't know. I absolutely love this cover. The black symbiote suit. Black Spider-Man suit is my favorite. This book is published in April of I believe it's 86. Looks like 85. So basically, this is the struggle between Spider-Man and the symbiote. Or Venom, you know, but it's the symbiote suit. The symbiote itself, Venom, yeah. And basically talks about him breaking up with Black Cat. This is after he goes to Reed Richards' FF building, and he finds out that there's an alien symbiote trying to basically consume him, right? So he's kind of talking to himself about it. There's a scene with these guys. They're like robbing an old lady, and they come back in the story. Okay, so this is interesting. This could be the first appearance of the Vulturions. I don't remember seeing them before, but they might be. Basically, some bad guys worked with one of the guys was smart and worked with the Vulture and learned how to manufacture his outfit. So he gives the bad guys team a bunch of Vulture outfits, right? And they go and they test flight them. Now, we missed something here. Let's go back. Before that happens, he's putting on his suit, and you know he's glad that he doesn't have the black suit anymore. But what really happened was the suit Venom disguised himself as the blue and red classic suit and snuck in through the window. So it's basically got control of Peter now. Okay, so let's go back to the Vulturions testing out their suits. Okay, so they're testing out their suits. Meanwhile, Peter cannot control the symbiote. It has basically taken control of him. He's trying to guide it certain directions, and he's trying to get back to the Baxter building and have Reed take it off him. And it won't let him. Yeah, Venom won't let him. There's just nothing he can do. No matter what he does, Venom steers him away. He's got mostly complete control over Peter Parker at this point. even to the point where he crashes him down onto a car and all this stuff. They flip to a scene with Aunt May and Mary Jane talking a little bit about money problems and stuff like that. Moving on. So I just love the black suit, man. It has something about it. But anyway, one of the Vulturians or whatever spots a black suit, and the head guy was, or Spider-Man, the head guy was like saying, "Don't mess with him right now. We're testing the suits anyway." One of the other criminals said, "We're going to go get him," right? Well, because Spider-Man's all over the place. He can't control this costume or this venom, right? So one of the Vulturians grab him, and they're like, "Oh, he's so weak, we can do whatever we want with him," because he's fighting the suit, and they don't really know what's going on. And they're throwing him around, and they're thinking about flying him up really high and killing him, right? Dropping him. Well, eventually, the symbiote kind of... Venom's still fighting with him and doesn't even care. So Spider-Man is trying to get... he beats him up, most of them, even while he's under the control. But he gets one of them, right? And he tries to guide him. He holds on to him and tries to make him fly towards the Baxter building, right? And it's just not working. So he knows that the sound is affecting the suit a little bit. So he guides him to the classic bell scene, right? We're in the church tower or bell. And he bongs the bell, and then he gets rid of the Vulture, and he's like, "Get out of here." What this page right here is so classic, right? So he's bonging, and he's basically telling him, "Look, I'll die hearing these bells to get you off me," right? The sonic sound of the bells. This is very interesting, though. So Venom releases himself off Spider-Man, right? Off Peter, and they're talking about how Venom is used to attaching himself to unemotional people or lower emotional people and, basically consuming them, right? And Peter was so full of want, fear, and all that Venom learned how to feel a little bit from being bonded to Peter, okay? So Venom's escaping, right? And Peter's still stuck up there. What's very interesting is, for whatever reason, right? He goes back up and he saves Peter. He brings Peter down, right? Because he kind of cares about him. He has emotions now. He saves him. It's almost like he gives him a little lick, right? And then he disappears, right? It says here, in a very short while, Peter Parker will awaken and wonder, why did it save him? It's a question that will haunt him for the rest of his life. Such a classic book. I constantly buy these. I love the black suit. And a classic story of the battle of the symbiote suit, Venom, and Peter Parker. So I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie. See you later. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. This is actually a really good read. This book is jam-packed full of keys. This book came out in July '84. It's Tales of the Teen Titans, number 44. You got the first Nightwing with a brief origin. I believe you have the first Jericho in costume with an origin. And you have Deathstroke's origin. This book is jam-packed. George Perez, Marv Wolfman, Dick Giordano. Okay? It starts off with Dick, Robin, ex-Robin, Dick Grayson, talking to Deathstroke's wife. And she begins to tell him, essentially, the complete origin story of Deathstroke. And it's a long one. It's a really long origin story. It talks about how he was young when he joined the military. He kind of snuck in, and he was the best of the best, and they were looking for the best of the best, right? And you know, it just shows all that stuff, right? His training and everything. And he's succeeded to get past like the hardest parts of the course. And then he gets beat by this lady, which ends up being his wife, Mrs. Deathstroke, or however you want to call her. And she says, look, I have all this training. I'm going to teach you more stuff that I've learned. You know, she's showing him all her moves and stuff like that. And she begins to train him. Okay? This book really has a lot in it. It's really good. The story's really good. So, after all the training and everything, he gets married. Then he instantly goes to war. She's pregnant. And Grant Wilson's born. Who I think ends up dying and was another character. Okay? Eventually, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, takes some medicine for something. I can't remember. What it was, but he got sick, right? And the military ended up kicking him out, but that was his life. So, basically, he started doing like safari hunting and stuff like that and disappearing a lot. Basically, he had become a contract killer and no one knew, okay? So, while his wife was home alone and she has training, some people came to attack, so she knew they were coming to attack, right? Oh, by the way, this is a Mark Jewelers insert. You can look for these in comics. They're reasonably rare. You find them on most military bases, and they're even more rare in a DC comic. So this book itself is jam-packed with goodies for me. So anyway, she kills most of them. She doesn't kill them all, and they get her son, Jericho, her other son, right? Slade comes home. She tells him what's happened. And he says, let's go get him. Then he tells her the truth about everything. And he dons the Deathstroke costume in front of her. Okay? They go to the bad guys. And she says, I'm going with you. It's my son. The bad guy says, look, you're going to tell me information or we're going to cut your kid's throat. And of course, Slade thinks he's super fast. So he Deathstroke, so he throws a knife. Then they kill everybody. But the guy slit Jericho's throat, and that's why he's mute. So she left him, okay? Now she's telling everything to Dick Grayson at Teen Titans headquarters or whatever because she wants him to trust him because she knows where Deathstroke is and the other issues he was there, right? So she's trying to help Dick Grayson convince him that they're honest, okay? So we're done with Deathstroke's origin, and she's like, well, what are you going to do? So now Dick Grayson runs upstairs, and he has a brief origin. He's talking about his past with Superman, Batman, and all these other things, and how he's always wanted to be something different. So he comes down, he says, I'm Nightwing. So there dons a costume. He comes down and Jericho's in his costume. And I'm Jericho. Right? I think that's two first appearances. So I think this is the first appearance of Jericho in costume. Okay? And he's like, I can't take him with me. And she's like, Jericho is a mutant. I don't ever think they said mutant in DC until then. I don't know 100%. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, let's look at, stare at my son. So they stare. Jericho takes over now Nightwing's body. Okay? And makes himself punch himself and stuff like that. And they become friends. And basically, they go off to find Deathstroke. Now, if you're watching the Titans show, it's close. And the Titans show is very good. But this is it. This is like the origin of Jericho, the origin of Nightwing, or the first appearance of those two, and a gigantic origin of Deathstroke, the Terminator. Great book, great key. I hope you enjoyed this comic book quickie. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. We got another comic book quickie here. This is the Vision. Now I'm pretty sure that they're gonna. I'm filming this so early, the show could be out, the new WandaVision. But they're going to be using characters in this book. If not, and we're just watching the show already, I could be wrong. But this is kind of like the family of Visions. Now, this is Vision number 1. This is a variant cover, one of the more expensive variant covers, so I'm going to be real careful with it. But it's a very interesting read. It talks about how Vision's like a synthetic type of thing, born from Ultron or whatever. But it starts off in the neighborhood and describing their neighborhood, the Vision's neighborhood, where they live in Virginia, like kind of by DC, where everyone in the neighborhood kind of works for the government or something else. And there's a couple, George and Norma. Norma's making George go to the house to give their new neighbors, Visions, cookies. And George is talking about how, oh, I don't like this. This is weird. They're weird and all that. And so Vision hears them. And this is where you meet them, the Visions, right? So you have Virginia, Viv, and Vin. Okay. Now this is where I got lost a little bit because I thought it was Scarlet Witch, and I'm just now reading this. But it's like a robot family made. They've copied the minds for the kids. They've copied minds of other people and stuff like that, and they act like androids. Okay, so like in the movies and stuff, Vision's, he's more like us, I guess, than a robot, but they're very robotic. So anyway, they take the neighbors in for a tour of the house. They have different items that are like a magical piano, some magical vase, lighter from Captain America, and this right here was from Scarlet Witch, okay, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, they're taking a tour of their neighbor's house, and they don't fit in. Okay, they just don't. It's not like another world created for them to live in. It's our world. So anyway, the family leaves, and it's funny. It says here, later, near the end of our story, one of the Visions will set George's and Nora's house on fire. They will die in the flames. It's funny. So anyway, they talk about how they're supposed to talk about people, kind of like they were nice people. No, they seem nice, and they're just having this kind of weird argument. He's trying to teach his wife, Virginia, how to kind of assimilate and act properly, right? And then, of course, the kids, although they're the same kind of robotic, they're younger, they're more youthful, of course, and they like to show off type of things in front of the neighbors, kids and stuff. And the neighbors like to take pictures and selfies with the Visions because everyone knows who the Vision is. Now, he's got a job working for the President of the United States, and they're not paying him. It's just funny. So they talk about that, and then the kids are constantly absorbing all information they can on internet and TV. Kind of like Daryl. Remember Daryl, the movie Daryl, with the kid that was a robot? And he was learning everything, or I don't know. Anyway, the kids are going to go to their first day of school, and this is like a super school, okay? All the best of the best kids, the smartest of smartest and they're going to this school, right? And they go fly to school, right? So the kids are like, "What the hell's going on?" And it's their first day of school, and they're explaining how they make them take different classes separate from each other to learn different things. And then one of the girls types a message, and she says, hey, you. And he says, yes, me. I don't believe we are allowed to converse in class. She says, are you normal? And he's like, what's going on? Says he's flying home with his sister. He's like, am I normal? And she's like, I think we're there to learn and understand everything, what normal is. We're supposed to assimilate. Almost like the Borg from Star Trek are going to school, trying to fit in. So Vision's having some weird dreams about his wife, right? And so he basically says he's got to go do work, but he's going to go back to Avengers headquarters and to run some tests. Meanwhile, the family is having, like, I guess breakfast or dinner or something. Who knows? It's Saturday, right? I don't even know if they eat. But one of the classes that Viv is taking says something kind of negative about her report or something, and she like storms off kind of in a way. And when she's walking off, a sword goes through her. Okay? And someone's there trying to kill her. And it's the Grim Reaper. Now, I don't know if he'll play a part in the show, but he's in this. And basically, he's kind of talking about how one of their identities or something was taken from his brother. And he's there to kill them all, right? And he's really doing a good job, actually. And he's going to continue, but Virginia, the wife, smacks him over the head, right, with the pan or of some sort, and kills him. And then she's like, don't tell your father. So basically, in this book, you have the death of the Grim Reaper. You have the first appearance of all the family. Virginia, Viv, and Vin, in this whole new world. It's a very interesting story, and I'm going to look for the rest of them because I'm interested in reading it. It's just kind of like a funny look at our society as a synthetic android or whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie. A little book out of the abnormal, but it is a key. And you guys stay sick. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. This week we have Superman number 199, who is the fastest man alive. I believe this is the first race between the Flash and Superman to see who is the fastest. This book came out in August 1967. So basically there's a lot of interesting things about this book, but we'll start with the two crime syndicates are trying to figure out a way to fix the race, where they can have one or the other lose because they're all trying to profit from it. And it shows Superman, people are timing Superman and the Flash, like Superman stops some cars and they time it, and the Flash beats up some dudes and stops some crime and they time it. So they get called in to the UN, and the UN saying, look, if we could do a race between you guys, we could organize, we could charge, and with the funds we could help underdeveloped countries and like save the world type of stuff, And so they agreed to do the race. Take a little bit of time out, and they're going to circle the Earth a couple times or whatever. They've decided to give them a path to follow. Okay, but Superman cannot fly. That's like one of the rules. So the syndicates come in and they hire different people smart people to figure out a way to stop Superman and the Flash and control the race. Anyway, it's race day and the Justice League is there and they're all rooting and they go, right? What's interesting is that Superman can't run on water, I guess, so he has to swim. which is interesting, and the Flash can run over the water. Now, they encounter a bunch of different things throughout the race that slow them down, slow each other down. Flash might come to an obstacle where he can phase through it, or Superman will have to jump over it or run fast, but they can't. They don't cheat. There's times where they run into things and they fix it really fast together, but they're always kind of helping each other throughout the whole thing. What's kind of funny is, though, people are like watching them race where it's literally impossible to see them. Like, they try to get a picture of them or whatever, but it's like impossible to see these guys running and whatever. What I thought was also funny is they go through a forest with loggers, and they, instead of just running through, they take time to like cut down trees, which is funny back then, to help the loggers meet their quota. Like, for saving the world purposes back then, that didn't matter, so they cut down a bunch of trees. So, they're racing, and they're just talking about like all the different areas all over the country. Different things happen where Superman will stop to help the Flash because the Flash got injured or something, or vice versa. Kryptonite came out of a volcano, so the Flash made a little hole so the kryptonite would go in and not affect Superman. And they're constantly helping each other throughout the whole thing. Which is interesting, of course, but they're superheroes. They're good guys. So eventually they get to the part where the mobsters are there to mess everything up. So the mobsters put up this fake plexiglass thing for the Flash to run through. It's like bulletproof glass. And the other mobster family puts kryptonite dust, right? So they run through it. Flash goes through the wall, and later on, Superman gets kryptonited. So they get caught by the bad guys and hidden away, and they put in fake people dressed in suits to make sure that they'll lose. So both mob families do the same thing. They put fake people in to finish the race and to lose it so they can win a bunch of money. And eventually they get loose and they race again. But they knew that it was a plot so that the mobsters' families could make a lot of money. So basically they decided to finish at the same time so that no family would win the money and all their money would be lost of the mob families. But then it says here, and this is why I say this is the first race, because there's debate that there's another tied for first. But it says here, there's still one thing that hasn't been cleared up. What's that? Which of you is faster? Right? So it says the rematch is coming soon to Flash. So to me, that indicates this is the first race between the two. But it was an interesting story of them helping each other out. And that is Superman 199. I hope you enjoyed your comic book quickie. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. The new comic book quickie of the week is Star Wars number 42. Pretty big key book. It's you guys, it's Empire Strikes Back, written in a comic book. Now there is a magazine and stuff like this, but in a comic book, there's multiple first appearances in here. So let's take a look. Super hot book. And of course it says Empire Strikes Back right on the front of it. So you can see all the cameos right there. Dengar Boss. What is it? Zuckus? I can't remember his name. IG-88. They're all there right there in the first panel. Okay. And then you see, of course, Luke. What is it? In the Dagobah system? Looking for Yoda. He's crashed his ship. And Obi-Wan's like talking to him. You can hear Obi-Wan's voice. It's just the I mean, if you've seen Empire Strikes Back, I mean, it's like exact. And then Yoda makes his first appearance. I'm pretty sure this is the first full appearance of Yoda in a comic book. I still think this comic book should be worth so much more than it is, to be honest with you. There's so many things in here. You got Yoda, and you got the bounty hunters, okay? We'll keep going. But, as in the movie, he guides them. Oh, I can take you to the Jedi Master, And he's like eating their food and all this stuff. Meanwhile, you have Han Solo and the crew, Chewbacca and Princess Leia and C-3PO and all, and they're inside the crater, or they're hiding from the Empire, and they're like bombing them and stuff like that. And C-3PO is like, "Yeah, your thing's broken. We gotta fix it." And this is kind of where they do their first kiss, where Han Solo and Princess Leia do their first kiss. And then we switch back to Darth Vader, and he's looking for Luke. And this is where Palpatine, okay, first brief appearance, cameo, whatever, of Emperor Palpatine or Darth Sidious. And he's kind of revealing, the son of Luke Skywalker, or the son of Anakin Skywalker, is alive. And convincing him, hey, we got to get him and we got to turn him to the dark side. You know what I'm saying? Then Luke finds out that Yoda is the Master Jedi. Okay? And then they go back to I forgot what they call those things, the Minox. They're clearing them off the ship. Han Solo and them. And they realize, they're inside a giant worm. Sometimes I wonder if it's like the worm, sandworm in Dune. Probably is, because I know they talk about spice in Star Wars, so those worlds are connected, which I think is interesting. So they escape, okay, and then they're go back to Luke doing all his training, and Yoda's trying to tell him, you need to forget all your old training, type of thing. And the story. Maybe you don't. If you don't, you're crazy. Go watch Star Wars, all of them. Then they do the classic, trying to pull the spaceship out of the water. And they go back to Darth Vader, and here's where you get the second appearance. I mean, I'm guessing now that you've seen them multiple times, that's a first full appearance now of all of them. So you can't really say cameo anymore of Boba Fett and all the rest of the bounty hunters. And he's basically saying, look, you have free reign and whatever to find them. Find Luke and all them. And so they go off. Now, you come back to Han's being chased. And they do the old 1-2 where they go right at him and then they attach themselves to the ship. And then they think that they lost him, right? And we go back to a little bit of Luke's training and then back to Darth Vader again. And then they release the garbage and they, Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon go off with the garbage and they lose him. But a very well-trained Boba is waiting. And that's it for this issue. But you have all the bounty hunters, Boba, Yoda, Palpatine, first kiss. I mean, come on, guys. This has to be one of the best comics of all time besides for Star Wars, except for number 1, I guess, right? At least I would think. And this is your comic book quickie. Go watch Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. See ya. Welcome back to Comic Book Quickie. We got Spawn number 1. Okay? As well as doing the quickies on these, I'm going to tell you something about the book, of course. This is the newsstand edition, which is basically like a 1 in 100, I believe. And there's a different pinup inside. But let's start. Todd McFarlane's baby, Spawn, okay? It's funny, like, I think most of us know Spawn went to hell, but it shows Earth like from like he's on another planet or something, which I thought was funny. But it's basically talking about um, Spawn doesn't know what's going on. Like he knows he has to go back. He knows he died, type of thing, and he's talking to himself a lot. Now the newsstand, you can tell the paper quality is different inside. It's newspaper, like it feels different. Anyway, the art's incredible. Okay, so you see Spawn. He's kind of talking to himself. Why am I here? What am I doing? What he doesn't know what's going on. This is the very first issue. Now you have these newscasters talking about stuff that's happening about Al Simmons, who is Spawn, his death. They talk about Wanda Blake, his wife, a character Martin Alexander, the friend of his wife, that is like at the funeral type of thing. Shame, shame, shame. He's dead. You need to stay away type of thing. Just classic news channels talking about his death and a little bit of his history, his war history, and he was a colonel and all this stuff. He starts to remember a little bit of his past, and he also remembers dying. Okay, I'm gonna press this book, clean it up, and send it in. And then he starts seeing Wanda, and he talks about the deal he made. I never really hear him say the deal with the devil. Okay, but he makes a deal when he's dead, right? All he wants to see is Wanda. Now that he's back, he doesn't remember anything. Like he doesn't remember anything except little spurts of things, right? And this is kind of when the clock starts. It's like Spawn clock. And we don't really, there's nothing, you see it count down in this book, but you don't really know anything about it just yet. But besides that, the art's incredible, guys. Okay? And then you kind of get your real first look at him right here. He's talking about how with his powers type of thing, he feels like he can do anything, but he can't remember anything, and he kind of almost like traded in to remember stuff. And then you get your first like full Spawn layout here. He talks about finding answers first, and then once he's found out answers, then he'll go after the guy who framed him, right? They don't tell you much about his death exactly in this one yet. Then we see our first appearance, guys, of Sam and Twitch. And they're detectives investigating murders. Basically, mafia guys are getting taken out. And he's telling him how one of the guy's heart was ripped out and put in his mouth. You know, Spawn is classic for being kind of dark. Well, very dark. Okay, so now we switch on to Spawn doing his first act of kindness or whatever, being a hero. There's a bunch of dudes that are basically about to rape a woman. Okay? He comes down and he says, you better stop or you guys are in, I'm going to take care of you. And one guy tests him, right? And he throws him through a window. And then they keep talking, and then something happens here where he like does this mist and it blows up and they all run away, right? So Spawn goes to tell the girl it's okay, right? And he starts to have flashbacks. More flashbacks. The art's incredible, guys. McFarlane, baby. This is his baby. He starts to have more flashbacks on Wanda and things happening. He remembers his death, kind of, and like begging to get out type of thing. She's like a little demon. I think that's Wanda, but like a demon. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and the girl that was getting violated, she's holding him, saying, "It's okay. It's all over. It's all over," which I thought was funny. And then we go back to the newscasters talking about more crimes and stuff being done in the city. Carlo Giamatti's dead, and a bunch of other people. and what's going on, right? So he's starting to remember more. He had a wife. And then he's like, I got to get these clothes off me. Like, I got to get this outfit off me type of thing. Right? And he takes it off and he sees, this is the reveal, that he's all like torn and burned and everything. And he says, what am I? Type of thing. And then you see him again, like in the garbage cans, and then it goes back to Sam and Twitch talking about, well, if these killers start killing more and more people, right? Then regular people, then we're gonna have some problems. And then you see the cameo, which no one ever talks about, the cameo of the Violator. Cameo appearance. And he says, you think you have problems now, Simmons? I promise your troubles have just begun. Ha 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 ha. So that's a cameo of the Violator, who appears in the next issue. Now, this book, I guess I skipped over it somehow, but the insert in this book, the newsstand edition, is this dope-ass Spawn mini poster. I think in the other one it's like a pit poster or something, but in this one is this Spawn insert. So yeah, this is the more high-valued copy of Spawn, the newsstand, number 1. And there it is, guys. The first introduction to Spawn. Love you, McFarlane. Stay sick, comic book sickos. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Comic Book Quickies. This is an exciting one. The Punisher War Journal number 6. It comes in 6s. Guys, this is one of the most classic Wolverine covers of all time. Wolverine's ripping through the Punisher's shirt. I feel, I'm not 100% sure, okay? But I feel like this is the first time they meet. I mean, it says it right there. Meeting for the first time. Now, they don't meet at the end. This is a couple-part series. But this is a classic Jim Lee cover. This is all about Jim Lee. I have to be really careful with this book because it's a 9/8. And I'm intending on sending it in, okay? White pages, absolutely beautiful written. Carl Potts, let's go. I'm going to be real careful with this sucker. Punisher just got back from beating up people, whatever, killing people, all that good stuff. And Micro's there, and he's like, I need your help, Micro. Micro's like, you need to take a vacation. And Micro's basically like Batman's Alfred type of thing, okay? So Micro convinces him, look, I know of a hunting expedition. You can go and relax and do like a guided tour in the jungle, right? And he's like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. Then they switch to a bunch of, what is it, pygmies, I think, in the jungle, running away from what looks like to be a dinosaur. Okay? Okay, now, we switch over to Mad Rapport. And this dude's wearing a cheetah outfit. Okay? Well, old Wolvie's there. Wolverine's there. He smells it. He's like, you ain't doing no hunting around here. Just like in The Wolverine, or whatever the hell that movie was, where he goes back to Japan and he's like, stops the hunters. Okay. So he smells a guy and he's like, dude, it's a truck full of like pelts. And he's like, that ain't happening. The guy stabs him pretty good, right? And Wolverine lets go and shows the claws. This image right there is one of the dopest Wolverine patch Jim Lee pieces in my mind of all time. This is about, it's a good story, okay? But this is about Jim Lee's art, bro. And broettes. Sickettes. So let's keep going. God, I gotta be careful. Anyway, he makes the dude strip. Dude takes off. Wolverine takes the truck. Okay? Now, we go back to the Punisher and Micro. And he convinces the Punisher, like I said. Okay. Then, I don't remember what happened here. I think this is a group of, like, scientists or something. I never remember what was going on here, but it was very quick. Okay, so anyway, they get to the expedition, and they're introducing all the players on this expedition. Most of them are like scientists and stuff, so it's not really like a hunt. But they are going after trying to find the dinosaur, okay? The Punisher is under a fake identity, making friends with the locals. Let us continue, sickos. One of the local... here you go, Stan. How you doing, buddy? We miss you. One of the locals' sons got bit by Black Mamba, and the Punisher saves him with some antidote or whatever. Then he's like reminiscing when he's sleeping, not really about jungle or war, but just about what's surrounding him type of thing. Like, oh man, was there like monsters? Not monsters, but whatever. So they're on their trek. They shoot some deer, or so the natives shoot some deer with their blow dart. The Punisher busts a cat. They're like, yee, but that's really loud. It was so loud that a Black Mamba comes. Almost gets him, and the Punisher shoots it. And then one of the natives saves the Punisher because he said the Black Mambas always come in pairs. So the Punisher's very thankful. Okay, so the natives are saying, oh, look, do. This is the dinosaur that we saw. Okay, now, these people are showing like gorilla heads, skulls, and they're like, what? That's not normal. And you start to get a picture of this guy and this girl couple. Then we switch back to this guy. I don't know. It almost feels like it's Professor X. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, they're in the river, right? The Punisher and them, and they see something in the water, so the Punisher jumps in or whatever, something like that. Okay, now, this couple here, there's just seems like they're taking pictures of gorillas, right? One of the natives is with them. But actually, dude, they kill him, the guy and the girl. Now, they realize that the native realizes that they shot them and killed them and, like, hid the evidence. They're just hunting. They're like killers or, pelt. Wolverine's on their trail trying to find these people, right? While the Punisher's guiding him and doesn't really know what's going on. So one of the natives comes and says, help, my son, right? So, oh my God, I gotta be careful. 9/8, baby. I love this cover. I just realized it was a 9/8, so maybe do a little quick press on it and send it. It's going in, though. Okay, let's keep going. So anyway, they're like, help, the gorillas killed the kid, when they were covering it up, okay? The Punisher knows, though, that they were covering it up, because he can tell. You know what I mean? Check this out. I love this stuff down here. The old comics where you could order the comics for a special price, Let's take a quick time out and look at some of these. Look at this. Secret Wars 1-8, right? $1. Oh, that's Secret Wars 2. Let's see here. Secret Wars 1. Any book from number 6 through 12 is $1. Secret Wars, remember? Secret Wars 8. Oh. X-Men. X-Men 94 and giant size X-Men number 1, right? $95. Oh, man, that would have been sick. Dang, dude. Anyway, back to the story. So, Wolverine's still on the hunt. He's wearing the cheetah thing. It's just, he's Wolverine. And here we go. The Punisher is checking out the scene again of the murdered kid, and a giant gorilla attacks him. And dude, he's fighting him, and he's trying to get away, but he can't. And he doesn't want to, but he has to kill the gorilla. Okay? Because it's about to kill him. And guess who shows up right when he's killing the gorilla? Wolverine. Wolverine thinks Punisher thinks Wolverine's a psychopath. All right. So, Wolverine thinks he's killing gorillas, and Punisher thinks he's a psycho trying to kill everybody. So this is like their first meeting type of thing. Beautiful art. God, I love it. I love Jim Lee's old stuff a lot. And eventually, Wolverine does a comment about how, like, wow, that guy was pretty fast, but I'll leave him to the sea dwellers. I gotta go. Okay? And that's like the first meeting. And it takes, number 7 will continue it. And what's fun about these Punisher War Journals, it always shows, like, weapons and stuff that Punisher is packing for his trip. And that, my friends, is Jim Lee's first meeting and art. Well, maybe not first art, but Jim Lee's Wolverine Punisher first meeting. I hope you guys enjoyed this sick ass show. Comic Book Quickie. Peace. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. Tonight we have a classic Marvel Spotlight, The Moon Knight, number 28, Marvel Spotlight. This is his first solo story. Plus, you know, I'm starting to realize the more and more I do these, I'm finding more keys that people know about. So this is pretty sure this is the first appearance of the Conquer Lord too, and we'll go through it. So this is definitely an origin story as well as kind of stuff on him in general. Starts off with him fighting a bunch of dudes trying to break into a building, right? And there's people waiting for him at the mansion. So he plays a lot of different parts. Considering Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne, he's a millionaire, you know, and he's just Bruce Wayne. Moon Knight plays a bunch of different things. Like, he's a millionaire, he's a cab driver. There's just a lot of interesting things, right? He's always late to everything. This is the first appearance of, I think her name is Margaret. Let me see. Can't remember exactly. Well, Miss Fontaine for now. That's the first appearance of her, like a love interest of his. He stands up all his jobs when he's fighting crime, of course. He beats up the dudes, of course, like any good superhero. He's really fast. There's a part where they say, well, there's a lot of interesting things about this, and I'll get to that. There's a lot of writing in this book. There's a lot of story, okay? It's written by Doug Minch, and the artist is Don Perlin. So, there's a guy that flies a helicopter, right? It's like a Moon Knight helicopter. He's like a German. He's like, Z this, Z that. But basically, he thwarts the 7 bad guys, right? Over here. They're actually cops, okay? And then they're in the pocket of another gentleman. And he just keeps insisting on being called the Conquer Lord. But this book gives a lot of tips on his origin. Like right here. Rumor has it, they talk about, like, they know everything about him. The bad guys know everything about him. Rumor has it that he was bitten by a werewolf is where his strength comes from. And of course that's, what is that, Werewolf by Night, number 32, first appearance. And the moon gives him more power, okay? Anyway, the bad guy eventually says, I want to be Conquer Lord. So you're going to call me Conquer Lord. Basically, they were trying to attempt to, like, set up make it look like a robbery, but it was actually some sort of thing to, like, assassinate the mayor or something like that. After he yells at this guy for not calling him Conquer Lord a bunch, he drops him in a hole, right? And he's always got these rats all over him. He likes rats, the bad guy. Anyway, Moon Knight wants to stop off, right, to tell the cops that he arrested the criminals, but other cops showed up and realized they were undercover cops, so they didn't know what to do. So they basically said, oh, Moon Knight attacked us type of thing. So all the cops are after him right now. Right? So they're like, well, we're going to go assassinate the mayor or something. That was the ultimate plan. And Conquer Lord's like, no, I will do it. You're buffoons. So right here is when he puts on his first outfit. So that's the first appearance, I believe, of Conquerlord right there. You might not know that, but there it is. It's the first appearance of Marlene as well. That's her name. So he swims into his mansion. Marlene knows who he is. It seems like everyone knows who he is. Like, everyone knows who he is. He says, I got to pass you up on this dinner. I got to be the cabbie driver today. Because he needs to go get information on what's going on, right? It's so funny. He's a cab driver. And he goes to, like, this diner and asks questions. And what's so funny is this other guy comes up, right? This old dude. And this guy has all the answers about the bad guy, everything. No one else knows about what's going on. He knows everything that's going on. There's going to be an assassination attempt. There's this dude called Conquerlord. Like, he was sitting in a corner listening to everything. It's really funny. Then Moon Knight calls Marlene and says, look, let's go to this dinner. And after all, at the mansion, meet me there. So he stops being a cab driver and he goes back to being a millionaire. It's funny. But what you also find out is he goes there to the party or whatever, to meet Marlene, the bad guys are there. They're there to basically wreak havoc with the mayor and everything. And you also find out that Moon Knight's powers aren't as strong when the moon isn't as full, right? And this is the first meeting of Conquerlord. It's almost like a Punisher scene. And he stops him. He's not as strong right now, though, Moon Knight, right? So they, like, make a deal. Basically, Marlene starts to help, right, in the fight. And Moon Knight throws Conquerlord, and it goes into Marlene. So now Conquerlord has Marlene as a hostage. Okay? And he runs off. And then he finds out that one of these assassination guys killed the mayor or shot the mayor. And that's the first part of Marvel Spotlight's spotlight on Moon Knight, and Moon Knight's first solo story, first appearance of Marlene, first appearance of Conquerlord. A lot of stuff going on here, but a classic cover and a sought after comic that will heat up when Moon Knight comes to the screen. I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie. Hey guys, welcome back to Comic Book Quickie. We got a special one today. This is Iron Man number 9. This is a Tusca cover. It kind of looks like Ramita a little bit, but regardless, this is one of my favorite covers of all time. Just the classic Hulk Iron Man cover. This book is almost like it just came off the shelves. Pretty darn close. It's in really great condition. You can imagine smelling it. You can imagine the smell. So, this book was published in 1968. No, wait. No. January 1969. Okay? So it starts off, and it's very well written. It's very descriptive. Introduction: night and driving rain blanket Manhattan. From the waterfront, a delivery van rumbles uptown. So there's a delivery being done late night in Manhattan. It's raining. I think her name's Mei Ling. The character Mei Ling, it's kind of hard to see right now. But it's real heavy, and they want to see it. And some guy, you kind of have an idea who he is, but you're not sure yet, says, get lost, right? So it's this delivery, okay? And it's this, like, ancient statue. But what's really inside is the Hulk. So there's some sort of control. The Hulk is being controlled, okay? Then it switches over to Iron Man. He just recently battled the Gladiator in the previous issues. So he's like kind of building a new armor type of thing, or at least fixing his armor. Okay? And he's testing it to make sure that, it's waterproof and all these different things. And he goes to make a deal. He gets called to make some sort of business arrangement. So he he goes to it, right? It's like a meeting or like a merger or something like that. What is her name? I forgot her name. We'll get to it. Why do I think it's Janice or something like that? Anyway, they arrange this meeting. So he goes. Now, this bad guy character saying, I want to make sure you're okay, Hulk, because you've been delivered, right? And he's like, I'm Hulk, I'm strong. He's very angry, like normal, classic Hulk. But he's more driven in the goal to go find Iron Man and destroy him, right? So he's like practicing and all this. So this character says, okay, we know where Tony Stark is. Study this information, these two people here, and go get him, right? So he heads out to, it is Janice. He heads over to this meeting and he busts in. And he grabs Janice, right? He's knocking humans down. He's just beating everybody. And they're wondering why he's so much more crazy than usual. And he takes Janice and he jumps out the window. And he's basically trying to lure Iron Man away to fight him. And basically Iron Man's chasing him around town. And they're fighting. And Iron Man's saying, why are you doing this? And Hulk, what's going on, you know? And he, of course, he continues to fight. It's just a giant, the art is incredible, okay? God, I love it. And the colors on this book are, I mean, if you can see, this should be in 4K. The colors on this are absolutely gorgeous. It's the storytelling as well, along with the art, that I'm in love with. So the Hulk keeps beating him, and they keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, right? It's almost all action-packed, pretty much, with them talking to each other. But Hulk is definitely on a rampage. So what happens is, the Hulk lures him to like a plant or chemical plant or something like that. And they get in a little fight or something. And there's a huge explosion, right? And it comes to they find out that the Hulk is a robot. It's not the Hulk. And that the whole plan was a plan by the Mandarin to lure Iron Man out. And by following Tony Stark and realizing, basically in this issue, what it's all about is Mandarin realizes Iron Man and Tony Stark are one and the same. The plan was to figure out who was Iron Man and who was Tony Stark by using the robot Hulk. It's just an action-packed issue. The art's incredible. The writing is extremely descriptive. And, of course, it's one of my absolute favorite covers of all time. Iron Man number 9. I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Quickie, sickos. So this is one of those books that you have to get. Okay, you have to buy it. It's a key. It's the first Red Hood. Now, we're going to read this book, of course, but it's a quick read. But you know, there's says, "Oh, first Jason Todd is Red Hood." You don't know who it is. You just know it's the Red Hood. There's an unmasking, but you can't see who it is. So that's an inaccurate description of a key. It is the first Red Hood of this age, I guess. But first of all, let's start with the cover by Matt Wagner. Absolute fire. Okay, absolute sickness fire. Period. That's all I have to say about that. I love this cover. I just absolutely love it. Even though Red Hood looks a little bit different in the comic. So it starts off with this guy chilling on the street, just saying, you know, he's lived his whole life in Gotham and he's seen it all, and he's just, Gotham sucks. And but only if he could see like 6 floors above him or something like that. And then it opens up to this giant, you know, beautiful double page spread of Red Hood and Batman fighting. So it goes into them fighting, and Batman's of course talking to himself how this Red Hood's very well trained. His blade is cutting through him, through his outfit and all that. Let me try to fix the lighting a little bit here. I don't know where's that light coming from, sickos? I don't know. Anyway, commenting about how good he is, right? And then, he's getting beat up pretty bad by the Red Hood. And then finally, of course, Batman turns the tide on the Hood and basically says, game over, right? And he's stomping on him right here. Classic image there. And, he's on the ground, and Red Hood rips off his mask, Batman's mask. And dude, the art in this is great. I love the art in this, and I love the story. It's a quick read, but I love the art. He says, "Look at you. I guess we should keep it even." And he takes off his mask. Right? It's all something like a Darth Vader mask would sound like, or something. And then he drops him, and Bruce says, "Oh God." Okay, so even though they don't show Jason Todd as Red Hood, you can tell he notices him or something. So then it goes back a couple weeks, and they're talking about he's remembering different things, like things that happened to the family, kind of indicating, okay, it's someone in the family. He talks about Black Mask and Batgirl and all this stuff. And he's remembering stuff, right, from 5 weeks ago. Then we kind of catch up to Bruce in the Batcave, and Alfred's saying, "Hey, look, Bruce, Lucius Fox keeps trying to get a hold of you," and he's like, "Forget it, I don't want to talk to him," right? "I don't want to talk to Lucius." And he's like, "Look, Lucius is in the house. He's waiting for you. He's upstairs or whatever," right? So he goes upstairs, and Lucius, it's a typical thing like in the movie with Bane, like where they buy him out. Like a bunch of people bought small portions of Wayne Industries and basically own the R&D department. Of course, everything that has to do with all the weaponry and all the special stuff. So he no longer owns the R&D, right? So Bruce is upset, and he says, "Well, I gotta go, like he's gonna go take care of business at the R&D factory, right? Okay, then it kind of skips over to like a mafia, like all the drug lords meeting, okay? And they don't know what's going on, right? Why they're all there, who's killing who, what's going on. And they're all about to fight. Almost like in the Batman Joker movie, the second Batman, with when Heath Ledger comes in to the table, and he's like, "I'll take care of it." Almost the same offer. Like, look, Red Hood comes in, he says, "Look, I put this together. Here's the deal. You're going to give me 40% of all your drug stuff and stay away from kids and schools and stuff like that. And you're not going to have to worry about the Black Mask or Batman anymore." And they're all, "Yeah, whatever, And so he says, "Believe me, this isn't I'm not making you an offer. I'm telling you this is what's happening, right?" And they're all, "Whatever." And then he throws down a bag of all their lieutenants' heads. So, he's a killer, man. Red Hood. So, he's like, "Any questions?" And he starts like firing up the place, right? So basically Red Hood is taking control of all the gangs and drug dealers, and in this case here. Then they go off to Black Mask, because during these comic run, Black Mask is involved, right? Here's Black Mask, and he's talking about, "I don't care who it is or what's going on. They're nothing to me. Let's just wait and find out, and then we'll burn the whole thing down. We don't want to go one by one and find out who it is. Plus, we have better things to do." So he's taking this guy, right, to this building. And they go, "What are we doing in here?" And he said, "We're recruiting," right? And he's like, "I got a deal for you. A job for you. Where you can kill a lot of people." Right? And good money. And Mr. Freeze. It's Mr. Freeze, of course. He says, money's nice. What's the body count? And the mask is like, deep. He's like, I'm going to need something to wear. This is a great comic book. It's real quick and easy, but I like the darkness of it. I like the art. I like the writing. I mean, it's got that ruthless feel, and it is a super key that you want and a beautiful cover. I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie. Let me know in the comments. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. We got another comic book quickie. This is Batman number 366. Now, classic Joker cover, but there is some misconceptions in this book, and we are going to clear them up right now. Everybody says one thing or another, but it's in the book. All you got to do is read the book. Okay, so let's start. Writer Doug Bunch and artist Alfredo Alcala and Don Newton. Okay, it starts off with Jason Todd, okay, in alone. Batman's in like Guatemala and Alfred's gone somewhere. So Jason Todd's like, well, what should I do? Should I go to the Batcave and I do some lessons and criminal history or whatever? Oh my God, where am I right now? I'm in Dick Grayson's old room. I've never been here before. And it shows him opening up the closet of Dick Grayson, okay? Now, we move on to the Joker talking. Basically, my take from this is in 365, the Joker was in Guatemala trying to pit two groups against each other. And the Batman's down there too, chasing down the Joker. The Batman's with Vicky Vale, okay? Now, this truck pulls up, they're in the middle of the jungle or whatever, and they hitch a ride, okay? And one of the guys tries to kill him. He knew he was going to try to kill him. He stops him. But then he tells the guy, here, let's get back in the car. Look, you guys don't know what's going on. Things are happening here. This attack was from somebody else. It wasn't you guys. I forgive you. Blah, 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 blah. So, the Joker's base is at one of the pyramids, right? And he's got some, like, Joker helicopters. And they're going to cause more chaos between the two revolutionary groups. Meanwhile, Alfred is meeting with, here we go, Julia, which is actually Alfred's daughter. So that's a reveal of Alfred's daughter. Now she tells him, look, I don't think there's a murder or something like that, right? And let's help me investigate this murder. So then they go back to the truck with Batman and the people, and they're talking about the general and all this stuff. And they're fighting against each other, and Batman's trying to tell you, look, there's the Joker's doing this. You guys have to understand, right? And then they spot the Joker helicopters. So Batman breaks off. And he says, I can get there faster than you. Meanwhile, I think it's Commissioner Gordon's like ill, and it's nothing. It's inconsequential right now to the storyline. Okay, so they go back to the other head of the military group, and the Joker's on the way to like shoot at them and try to kill them right before the other group gets there and Batman gets there, trying to raise chaos between the two groups. And the Joker's cornered the general or whoever it is, and Batman saves him, okay? And then Batman says, look, you two guys are fighting against each other, but it's not each other, it's the Joker. Trust me. Then he like lassos onto the Joker's helicopter, right? And of course battle rings it or whatever, and takes off. Now before the two groups can start, Vicky Vale's taking pictures of all this, by the way. The two groups finally meet each other and they're about to fight, and then they're like, you know what? It's not us. Let's go after the Joker. So they go after the Joker. So Batman basically takes down the helicopter with the Joker in it, and the Joker and his dudes run off to the pyramid, to the main base, okay? And now They've got there before Batman can get there, and they're all heavily armed and stuff like that. And Batman really can't do anything about it. And then all of a sudden, the two groups of Guatemalans or whatever come, and they're helping Batman. Okay? And the Joker's like, hey guys, cover me. You know, sacrifice yourself for me, blah, blah, blah. And he runs into the pyramid. And the two groups unite. He runs into the pyramid, right? And Batman follows. Okay. So, he's got the tactical advantage of Joker, and he's using a gun, right? And Vicky's taking pictures. And basically Joker's saying, look, you've brought me to the brink where I can't take it anymore. I'm actually going to kill you. Like, I'm actually going to kill you now because I'm tired of playing these games, right? And then all of a sudden, Robin flies in. Fully costumed. Okay? Brief cameo, right? And now we're into first full appearance. Robin whoops Joker's ass. Okay? More of the appearance. Vicky's taking pictures. There's something here that I want to read to you, okay? He's like, it's me, Jason, right? So Jason Todd as Robin. And he wanted to prove to him that he could do it, right? And he says here, I even tricked Vicky Vale. And then he says, if I was good enough to fool Vicky Vale. There's something important here. Let's go back. Look right here. I found the spare costume in Robin's closet. Then I dyed my hair black. He did it. And I kind of found enough cash in your drawer to go to San Mateo. I was worried about you. He wanted to prove himself he was a good Robin, right? He dyed his hair on purpose himself in this comic. Now, Batman said this to him. But the very first opportunity, you will remove that costume. You had no right to wear it in the first place. Becoming my new partner is one thing. Stealing someone else's very identity is another, and I won't allow it. Okay? But, honestly, whether he had his permission or not, that's the first, I think, full appearance of Jason Todd as Robin. That's my take on this book. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick comic quickie, Batman 366, Stacia. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Quickie. This is another exceptional story, art, comic, Avengers number 56. This comic itself is in excellent condition. It is a piece of art and history. This book, let's see here, was published, September 1968. Very close to the first appearance of Black Panther, who appears in this story. We have Goliath, Hawkeye, Black Panther, and Wasp, okay? They've been called to this castle by someone supposedly saying that they're Captain America. So, you know, since Black Panther's pretty new to the team, they're complimenting him a lot. Like, oh, you're just as good as Captain America is. So on, you know. And they're going to the castle. You find out this is Dr. Doom's castle, okay? From early FF. They find it is Captain America that called them, okay? By the way, this is written by Roy Thomas, and the artist Buscema. Done. So, they said, well, why are you here? why did you call us here, right? And he said, well, there's a time machine here. And I have this feeling that Bucky's dead. Bucky is his partner from World War, the original Captain America's. And I want to go back in time. Who's the Winter Soldier now, of course. We got to use this time machine. So they've left the Wasp to control the time machine, and they get sent back. Okay, 20 years. So we're talking about 1940s comics now, the original Captain America run. All right, and it takes you back to with Baron Zemo. This is very interesting to me because this is a 1960s book, and they're talking about drones, right? They're talking about drones back then, remote control airplanes, stuff like that. It's very interesting. Now, when they come back 20 years, they're like ghosts. So they have to like witness. Captain America has to witness Bucky's death again, right? So they're all watching it play out. Zemo, and they're fighting, and he has an adaptoid that he creates, which is like an android to fight them. And basically what happens is, I mean, they're sitting there watching and they can't do anything. Baron Zemo keeps saying, I swear I can feel something, right? But look at this art. Look at how beautiful this comic is, guys. This comic is over 50 years old. What is this? 60? No. 52, 53 years old. It looks so good still. Anyway, they neutralize him, right? And he says, well, instead of, I hate your uniforms, Bucky's and Cap's uniforms, we're going to dress you in your basic army scrubs, because we're Nazis. And we're going to strap you to a rocket. They strap him to a rocket, right? Classic stuff. Meanwhile, Wasp is falling asleep in the future, right? And she accidentally presses a button when she falls asleep. And it materializes them into that time. So Zemo's freaking out, and they start fighting, right? And basically, the military, the U.S. military is also raiding the castle or wherever they are in the, 20 years in the past. So there's a whole battle with American soldiers. They're watching the Avengers fight these adaptoids, and you see Hawkeye and Black Panther and Captain America kind of fighting, and they're all complimenting each other and everything. While it's very well written, of course. You just get to see the team in action, the early Avengers team, right? So, before you know it, Cap, they vanish again, right? They can't stay there very long. So Cap has to watch Bucky die again, basically. And so, there's nothing he can do. There's just absolutely nothing he can do. He even tries to stop him as a ghost by jumping through Baron Zemo. But as you can see, they're on the drone. They grab the drone. Bucky's still on the drone. Of course, Cap survived. And it's just kind of like a partial origin story, right? Of Captain America and Bucky. It's kind of a jump back. It's kind of like a jump back to Captain America's past. Right? He says he was a great little guy. The best partner a man ever had. But now, for the first time, I can be sure he's gone forever. And that is a fact I'll just have to learn to live with. Of course, he comes back as a Winter Soldier or whatever later in the future. But the art's great. It's kind of like a introduction to Black Panther. It's only a couple issues after he's become, been his first appearance in the Avengers, and that's it. Plus, look at just such a clean, beautiful copy. The classic cover, right? with Cap standing over a dead Bucky. I hope you guys enjoyed this comic book quickie. See you later. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. This week we have Aquaman number 35. This is a great cover because it's got Ocean Master, Aquaman, and Black Manta on the cover. This is the first appearance of Black Manta. So let's take a look. Excuse me. So this book came out in September to October 1967. This is Silver Age. This book kind of jumps all around, so I'll try to be brief. I don't want this video to be long. This is a quickie. So it has Black Manta basically attacking the dome of Atlantis or whatever. And he mentions him as an old foe, even though this is his first appearance, which I thought was interesting. And he tells Aqualad and the baby and Mira to stay behind. And he goes and he shoots the Manta May, or whatever they call it, squadron after him. And he basically gets attached to the ship. It's like a decoy ship, right? So he's like stuck battling them. Then Black Manta goes to the dome and he like does this like suction cup doodad where it does something where it basically drains the water out of it, infects the seawater so everyone there can't breathe. And so Aquaman's being kept busy and the people can't breathe. So they end up emptying the water. They can breathe for like an hour without the water. They empty out the poisoned seawater. And of course, then Aqualad or whatever, they go and they leave. They don't listen to his wishes to help him break loose of the little battle he's in to get back to help everyone. Sorry, this pages are... What drives me crazy about this story is it was written okay, but it wasn't as good as the others, but it keeps jumping back and forth and like saying, oh, now and present and not present and then and later and now and later. So he's fighting that. He's still trying to stop him. They can't stop Mana. But what happens is they have this like cure where they can breathe in water. So everybody takes the cure. So Black Manta's like, what? They all can breathe. So he's taking off. What can I do? What can I do? I can't beat him this time. So he steals... Where is it? Aqua Baby or whatever. Right? He uses this thing to get Aqua Baby. So they make a deal. I'll trade you Aqua Baby and you come with me, right? Well, while that's happening, Ocean Master's coming as well. So you got two different people battling, right? Black Manta gives Aqua Baby to trade for Aquaman, and Aquaman's stuck in this tube thing. Then Black Manta's like, nuh-uh. He takes Aqua Baby. And he's got him, and he's like, oh my gosh. Then he fights Black Manta. Ocean Master and Black Manta are fighting, right? The baby uses a superpower or something and stops Black Manta, and the whales crush the little... It's all over the place. But there's a lot of action. It's basically... After Black Manta leaves, right? Ocean Master's like, I hate you, but at the same time I don't hate you. And I'll give you your kid back for now until you're more healthy to fight, because Aquaman was kind of beat up pretty bad. I don't know. It's all over the place. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not a huge Aquaman fan, to be honest with you. But this is a key book. As the first appearance of Black Manta. You got Ocean Master in there. You got Mira. You got a lot of characters in here. This is one of those books you want to look for. And that's your comic book quickie, guys. We'll see ya. Guys, this week we have Amazing Spider-Man 100. This is the anniversary issue, of course. 100 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. This book came out September of 1971. Classic Romita cover. You know, you have all the villains here. This is a really interesting book. So let's get into it. So, we have Spider-Man. He's kind of chilling. He's just doing his thing, you know, fighting crime and stuff like that, talking to himself. And there's like a robbery, and he stops them really fast, with ease, really. And he's kind of like talking to himself how he's just kind of bored. Like he's wondering if he's like growing up, or if it's, you know, he's maturing, and he, you know, he's in love with Gwen Stacy, and he wants, there's nothing else he wants more than to be with Gwen Stacy. So, and you know, he's regretting her father's death, and he had prepared a potion. He's prepared a potion to drink that he thinks will reverse the Spider-Man bite and become normal again. He just wants to be normal again. So interesting with Marvel writing, and keep running into this. It's so much about each character and the things they're dealing with in their world, in their own world. They have their own world. You know, this world was created by Stan Lee, and it's magical, and people can relate to different things. So he decides to take the potion, and he slowly falls asleep. Okay? And he's starting to hurt. He's starting to have pain, like pain in his body and his sides. And he starts remembering, you know, he's starting to go through all his regrets while he's sleeping, you know, of Uncle Ben dying, and the fear that Gwen will know that blame him for Captain Stacy's death and all that. And he's just going through it all. And he starts to hear this voice, and he's chasing down this voice. And this is what's so interesting about this comic. There are multiple appearances in here. First off, we have the Vulture, which he fights. We also have Arnold here. She'll love the look of your arm power. Send your stuff here, and we'll get you a bracelet for your arm power. Arnold, get to the chopper. So first he fights the Vulture, right? And he's fighting. He still hears the voice, right? And he's beating all these characters. Then all of a sudden the Lizard shows up. It's really amazing. There are so many bad guys in this book. So, you know, he has this little battle with the Lizard, beats him. Next, the Green Goblin shows up, right? And they're all telling him how he has to accept his fate, you know, he's gonna always be this way and all this. Meanwhile, he's still hurting. He feels pain within his body. He beats the Green Goblin. Then, of course, next up is Doc Ock. You have all the villains in this book. It's pretty cool. In number 100, right? You know, then he fights Doc Ock off. And then next up is Kingpin. I mean, that's 5 different bad guys, right? So, you know, he takes care of Kingpin. Then he's tracking down the voice and trying to find out what the voice is. And basically, it's Captain Stacy talking to him. Like, is he in heaven, or is he dreaming, or what? But he says, you've been given great power, and you've tried to use it for good. No man could do more. There have been others with powers, others who tried, yet they too were jeered, misunderstood, hated, and finally destroyed. You have tortured yourself by trying to live a normal life, but you cannot. You must accept the fact you are Spider-Man. It is your blessing and your curse forever, which I thought was very interesting. And then he disappears, and Peter Parker wakes up, and boom. This is interesting. This could be the first appearance of the multi-armed Spider-Man. There he is. He's got all the different arms coming out that grew from the potion. And it does say, there will be no cop-out. We promise you Spidey is really awake. He has 6 arms. And that's the end of Amazing Spider-Man 100. One of the classic books with multiple bad guys appearances and a classic story. I hope you enjoyed your comic book quickie. Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. We have another episode of Comic Book Quickie. This is the famous Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 36 comic, the black cover. This is the 9/11 book. Now, I was going to just give a brief synopsis of it, but I think that I could probably read it pretty fast to you, and there's a reason kind of why I want to read it to you. So let's do that. Let's see if I can do it quickly. Okay, so we interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you the following special bulletin. Then it gives you longitude, latitude of New York City, the Trade Center. Okay. When I was a kid, I ate on top of the tall tower. I was lucky enough to go be there. Anyway, it says Spider-Man here, and it's showing the city. You know, he says, God, some things are beyond words, beyond comprehension, beyond forgiveness. The people are saying, where were you? How could you let this happen? He says, there's nothing he could say. He says to himself, how do you say we didn't know? We couldn't know. We couldn't imagine. And it's the classic image of the tower that's still there. Only madmen could contain the thought, execute the act, fly the planes. The sane world will always be vulnerable to madmen because we cannot go where they go to conceive of such things. We could not see it coming. We could not be here before it happened. We could not stop it, but we are here now. So it shows like Daredevil thing, Captain America, Thor. They're all helping, right? Superheroes are helping heroes, real heroes. And you'll see them in the pictures. I'm not going to point everybody out. You cannot see us for the dust, but we are here. You cannot hear us for the cries, but we are here. There's a point to this. It shows Magneto and Doom. Okay, this is interesting. Even those we thought our enemies are here because some things surpass rivalries and borders. Because the story of humanity is written not in towers, but in tears, in the common coin of blood and bone, in the voice that speaks within even the worst of us and says, this is not right. Because even the worst of us, however scarred, are still human, still feel, still mourn the random death of innocence. And you've got Doom crying. Now they're talking about that, you know, they're trying to reach into you and say, look, man, this is bad, you know. Then it has this section here, ordinary men, ordinary women, refusing to accept the self-serving proclamations of holy warriors of every stripe who announce that somehow we had this coming. This person here says, probably what we deserve. All of them who have tried to secularize America, the pagans and the abortionists and the feminists and the gays and the lesbians and the whatever. And then it says, I point the finger in their face and I say, you helped this happen. And this guy says, it's God's will that America should fall through their inequity and their sin. We reject them both in the knowledge that our tragedy greater than the sum of the transgressions. This is Spider-Man talking. Bodies in the free fall on the evening news. I mean, they're showing, they don't really show up, but people falling from the towers. Madness in the mosques, shooting down 14 centuries of earnest prayers, forgetting the lessons of crusades past. Okay, this is where it really hits you. Okay, this is where they really try to get you with this. That the harmed are the least deserving. Spider-Man sees a child here. Spider-Man says, hi, listen, you shouldn't be here. This isn't a good place for you to. And the kid says, my dad went in there to get something. He said, just a minute. And Spider-Man says, you shouldn't. And the kid says, and if I wait and stay and I don't leave, he'll be okay because I'll do what he told me. And it shows firemen bringing out his dad. And he's dead. And the kid screams, Daddy. There are no words. There are no words. The death of innocence and the death of innocence. Rage compounded upon rage. Rage enough to blot out the sun. And the air filled with questions. Is it going to happen again? What do I tell my children? Why did this happen? They ask the question, why? Why, God, why? I have seen other worlds, other spaces. I have walked with gods and wept with angels. But To my shame, I have no answers. Cap's standing there looking at, and Spider-Man's looking at him and says, he's the only one who could know, because he's been here before. I wish I had not lived to see this once. I can't imagine what it is to see this twice. I just can't imagine. What do we tell the children? Do we tell them evil is a foreign face? No, the evil is thought behind the face, and it can look just like yours. Do we tell them evil is tangible with defined borders and names and geometries and destinies? No, they will have nightmares enough. Perhaps we will tell them that we are sorry that we're not able to deliver unto them the world we wish them to have, that our eagerness to shout is not the equal of the willingness to listen, that the burdens of the distant people are the responsibilities of all men and women of conscience, or their burdens will one day become our tragedy. Or perhaps we simply tell them that we love them and that we will protect them, that we would give our lives for theirs and do it gladly, so great is the burden of our love. In a universe of Game Boys and VCRs, it is perhaps an insubstantial gift, but is the only one that will wash away the tears and knit the wounds and make the world a sane place to live in. You see more, they keep talking. It's almost over. We could not see it coming. No one could. We could not stop it. No one could. But we are here now with you. This is Marvel talking to us. Today, tomorrow, and the day after. We live in each blow you strike for infinite justice, but always in the hope of infinite wisdom. This is them targeting attacks, the America. Because we live as well in the quiet turning of considered conscience. The voice that says all wars have innocence. The voice that says you are a kind and merciful people. The voice that says do not do as they do, or the war is lost before it's even begun. Do not let that knowledge be washed away in blood. When you move, we will move with you where you go. We will go with you where you are. We are in you. Because the future belongs to ordinary men and ordinary women, and that future must be built free of such acts as these, must be fought for and renewed like fresh water, because a message must be sent to those who mistake compassion for weakness, a message sent across 6,000 years of recorded blood and struggle. And the message is this: whatever our history, whatever the root of our surnames, we remain a good and decent people, and we do not bow down, and we do not give up. The fire of the human spirit cannot be quenched by bomb blasts or body counts, cannot be intimidated forever into silence or drowned by tears. We have endured worse before. We will bear this burden and all that come hereafter, because that's what ordinary men and women do. No matter what, this has not weakened us. It has only made us stronger. This is the final page. In recent years, we as people have been tribalized and factionized by 1,000 casual unkindnesses. But in this, we are one. I want to make a point here. Flags sprout in the uncommon places, the ground made fertile by tears and shared resolve. We have become one in our grief. That is so true. We are now in our determination, one as we recover, one as we rebuild. You wanted to send us a message, and in so doing, you awakened us from our self-involvement. Message received. Look for the reply in the thunder. In such days as these are heroes born, not heroes such as ourselves, the true heroes of the 21st century. You, the human being singular. You who are nobler than you know and stronger than you think. You, the heroes of the moment, chosen out of history. We stand blinded by the light of your unbroken will. Before that light, no darkness can prevail. They knock down 2 tall towers in their memory, draft a covenant with your conscience that we will create a world in which such things need not occur, a world which not require apologies to children, but also a world whose roads are not paved with the husks of inalienable rights. They knock down 2 tall towers, graft not their echo onto your spine, become girders and glass, stone and steel, so that when the world sees you, it sees them. And stand tall, stand tall, stand tall. Okay? It's written by Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr. I remember 9/11. Of course, some of you do. All of us do. I think most people that watch the channel. And I remember this book. And I gotta say, one thing I remember most is the way the country came together. And I'm filming this early in January, and it won't hit till March. But after everything that's gone on in 2020, it's now 2021, and 2019. There's been so much split, you guys, with politics and just whatever. And I want you guys to remember this day, because this, not just this day, but months and years after this, America came together as one. And politics didn't matter. None of that shit mattered. We mattered. We cared about each other. Nothing mattered at all, except, and I'm not saying just America, but mattered, but we all came together, and all the other crap went away. And I don't want another event to happen where we have to do that all over again. So I love you guys very much, and I hope you enjoyed this full-on read of this book. But I figured I would do it. And I love you guys, and stay sick, okay?